Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the News in 2 Minutes with the news that you need to know. Let's begin. Bombing can be heard throughout Yemen following reports that Egypt was prepared to send troops into the country as part of a Saudi-led campaign against an Iranian-backed government, signaling the possibility of a protracted ground war on this increasingly volatile tip of the Arabian Peninsula, as strategists warn that the state of sectarian war in the east could ignite a tinderbox that catches all of the region on fire. Canadian riot police are thought to be preparing for anti-austerity protests to widen into the weekend following ongoing reports that pockets of protesters are continuing to gather throughout the nation's second-largest city, after several arrests were made under a new Canadian law that prohibits the wearing of a mask and what many describe as police violence against what began as a peaceful movement to protest austerity measures within the country. Officials with various disease research centers are said to have personnel en route to Kazakhstan following reports by local leaders that a mysterious disease may be worsening in the region, with on-the-ground information showing that the sickness, which causes an almost paralytic sleep to come over those experiencing symptoms of the illness, may be moving beyond the scope of a small village, a fact that is leading some researchers to warn that officials will be forced to consider epidemiological means for the illness if cases continue to branch out. While scientists are having a difficult time determining the exact cause of the illness, international reports show that wide-spectrum scans of the area's soil and water reservoirs do little to indicate that the illness may be caused by either natural or chemical means, leading some to warn that radon from a Soviet-era uranium mine may have a play in the illness. However, researchers are stressing that a link to radon would not explain similar cases in neighboring countries or how the illness is moving beyond the scope of one small town. Disease researchers are warning that officials are extremely concerned with where the next case of H5N2 may show up, either in Minnesota or its neighboring states, following large-scale tests that show no signs of this strain of avian influenza among wild bird populations, leading officials to question how the disease originated at a turkey farm within the state. New research performed by the Washington University School of Medicine shows that common bacteria found throughout the First World and witnessed frequently in the hospital environment are at a tipping point in their readiness to mutate into a novel strain of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, an act that could cost the lives of millions if citizens do not educate themselves on the dangers presented by the overuse of antibiotics before it's too late. And to wrap things up, analysts are expecting a resurgence of violence following US-led airstrikes in Iraq, and aftershocks are expected to continue following an earlier 5.1 outside of Japan in today's Quake Watch. And that's it for this episode of News in 2 Minutes. Check back on Monday for more news that the aware need the most. This week's News in 2 Minutes is brought to you by Silver-Investor.com, home of the Morgan Report, a global resource for serious metals investors. Visit Silver-Investor.com and sign up for the highly acclaimed newsletter today. And SensibleSilver.com, providing your family with high-quality, natural, anti-infective immune support supplements that make Sensible Silver a must-have for your first aid and preparedness kits. Learn more about silver's healing properties and visit SensibleSilver.com today.